Little Bean here with Albert Einstein. So, we all know you're a very famous man. So, what was one of your most disappointing failures?
That is a good question. Of course, I did not have a perfect life. My most disappointing failure was being a husband and a father. I could never be there for my family. This was very disappointing. I was very sad to be looked at like this by my own kids. My oldest son sent me a letter reciting that my only project that I gave up on was him. I will never forget this, yet I will always regret it.
Alright. What failures do you have that constantly disappoint you?
Well, I'm obviously disappointed in myself constantly for the fact that I lost my family forever. Otherwise, the most constant disappointment of my life was my work. It's hard to do everything correctly multiple times. When I would make a slight mistake, just a slight mistake, it would be terrible. I spent days working to perfect my work just to realize that it was all wrong and I had to start all over again.
Do you have a flaw that constantly disappoints you?
Well, my least favorite flaw would be that I could not focus in school. Part of this occurred due to the fact that I could not talk until I was 4 years old. I was constantly being told that I was retarded. This came mostly from my teachers. Instead of trying to teach me, they were making me regret my life.
So, Albert, how did you overcome these flaws and failures?
Another good question. The way that I overcame things was looking into my future. Of course, I didn't know how things were going to go. But when I thought of things that were bad, they urged me to do better. That's one thing that I like about myself. That I can picture myself in the future and I can see how I'll regret things. So I'll try not to do that.
Okay. Alright. Well, that's the interview with Albert Einstein. Very sad, of course. And we will be carrying this over to Omar.
Okay, we are now.
We're here with Amancio Ortega. He will be telling us a bit on his life. Now, Amancio, tell me a bit of your life.
Well, I am the chairman at Inditex Incorporated, parent company of one of your mother's favorite clothing stores, Zara. But you will remember me as the most successful rags the richest, second richest man on earth.
Seems you haven't had much trouble, so why are you considered a famous failure?
Famous? Maybe. Failure? Definitely. I didn't finish middle school after all.
Oh, and tell me more on your decision about leaving middle school.
It wasn't a decision. I was born into a very poor family, so we did anything to make some extra money. I left the school mainly as my father had gotten a new job in La Coruña, as he was a railroad worker.
So how did you end up with a multi-billion-dollar clothing chain?
Well, in that town, around the age of 14, I got a job making clothing, and I learned how to make clothes by hand, which helped out a lot. Then I think around 1972, I founded Confecciones Goa. Then around 1975, I opened the first Zara store.
How do you use your money? And how do you live?
Well, I don't live much different than you. I just wear basic clothing as you. Just like when I was a little failure, living in a very poor family. But now look at me, living in this huge house.
What if you didn't get the job at the clothing place?
Well, first of all, I would definitely not be here sitting down interviewing you. And secondly, I would still be most likely cleaning houses for let's just say 10 euros a day. Well, anyway, I got a flight to catch back to Spain.
Well, that's it, folks. Amancio Ortega. Next, we will be interrogating a very special guest. Who could it be? Stay tuned to find out.
Some people say it was my death because there's still debate about how I died. Some say I died during a trick. Some say I was punched in the stomach. So the answer is, if I died during one of my tricks, then that's my greatest failure. How was my early life? I was one of 7 children born to a Jewish rabbi and his wife. I moved with my family to Appletown, Wisconsin, where I was later claimed born. When I was 13, I moved with my dad to New York City, where he was taking on odd jobs living in a boarding house before the rest of our family moved with us. I began my magic career in 1891, but I had little success. I performed in dime museums and sideshows. When I started, I initially focused on traditional card tricks, and I claimed myself as the king of cards. That's when I started doing escaped acts. From there, I was a sensation.
I was very sad to be looked at like this by my own kids. My oldest sent me a letter reciting that he was the only project I gave up on. I will never forget this. Yet, I will always regret it.
You suck, come on! Oh my god! Little B here was Albert Einstein. So, we all know you're a famous man, Albert Einstein. So, tell us, what was one of your least favorite? Albert Einstein. So, we all know you're a famous man, Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein. So, we all know you're a famous man, Albert Einstein. So, tell us, what was your distasteful flaw?
Tasteful